I want you to come with me on a journey into Wales. Wales is a beautiful country of marvellous scenery and waterfalls, but we are going to see some of its quaint little railways and tramways, and we start our journey from Shrewsbury and cross the border to Welshpool and follow the path of the Welshpool and Llanfair Railway to Llanfair. The Welshpool and Llanfair Railway was built in the year 1903 and was opened for passenger and goods traffic. But owing to the increased road transport competition, the passenger service was discontinued in the year 1930. However, the goods traffic is still in operation and consists of a daily toll train from Welshpool to Llanfair and an empty train back from Llanfair to Welshpool. And here we see the locomotive Countess doing its daily shunting in the goods yard at Welshpool. This locomotive, together with the Earl, were the only two locomotives on the system. And the little line is built to a gauge of 2'6" and is 9 miles 4 chains long. Rather unorthodox means of shunting are used at times, including fly shunting. But nevertheless, this efficient little railway carries its coal to Llanfair each day. And as we watch the train trundle its way across the road at Welshpool, we watch the quaint little open wagons and the somewhat beautiful freight van with its lovely lattice framework. And then we go along the line towards Llanfair, where we can watch the train as it comes through the beautiful scenery through which it passes on its way back to Welshpool. We then journey northwards through Wrexham and Chester, along the north coast of Wales to Colwyn Bay and Llandudno. And at Llandudno and Colwyn Bay, we see the Llandudno and Colwyn Bay Electric Railway. This line connects the two holiday resorts and is operated by 23 vehicles. The line is built to a gauge of 3'6", and of course it is electrically operated. There are 10 of these vehicles with the open top deck, and they provide quite a pretty sight as this one travels towards Llandudno at Rhos-on-Sea. There are also some open toast rack type vehicles, of which there are 4. And these vehicles are only used in the summer and only on fine days. Should a shower of rain occur, then they're quickly changed for some single-deckers of the closed type. And as this tram comes towards us, we can see the conductor hanging onto the side of it like grim death to collect the fares. And over on the other side of Llandudno, we go over to the Great Orme Railway, which climbs up the side of that great peninsula overlooking Llandudno. And as we approach the halfway station, we change trams to a tram of an entirely different system. And as we pass the tram coming down from the Summit station, we catch a glimpse of the cables which operate the railway, and pass over the catch points. And as we look back towards halfway station, we see it as a mere pinpoint below us. And as we journey back to Llandudno, we feel that we're literally burrowing our way into the town. Leaving Llandudno, we go further along the north coast of Wales and inland to Llanberis for the Snowdon Mountain Railway. But in passing towards Llanberis, we catch a glimpse of the Dinas Quarry train with its train load of narrow gauge railway wagons on its back. And at Llanberis, we pause for a little while and watch the Snowdon Mountain Railway trains as they come and go in amongst the mist. Here we have a train with one of the old type passenger vehicles, which are gradually being replaced by vehicles of a much more modern design. And as we look at locomotive number 6, we look at the intricate valve gear, which is so interesting on these locomotives which were built in Switzerland. The gauge of the railway is 2'7.5", and the line climbs to a height of 3,496 feet in just over 4¾ miles. And as this train puffs its way up the side of the mountain, we leave the Snowdon Mountain Railway and go up the Llanberis Pass and down into Portmaddock, which is the junction for the former Welsh Highland Railway and the Festiniog Railway. Unfortunately, the Festiniog Railway has been allowed to get into an advanced state of decay. And as we wander around the yard at Portmaddock, we see wagons lying desolate and overturned, and signal arms hanging limp from their posts. And outside the manager's office we see a former passenger brake van in an advanced state of decay, with open wagons in the foreground derailed. There are hundreds of these slate wagons, absolutely rusted, lying around, and over at Boston Lodge we see old passenger coaches absolutely derelict, and further away we see bits of locomotives and wagons overgrown with undergrowth. And peering through a hole in the door of the works at Boston Lodge, we see what was once the general works of the whole railway, but now it is another scene of desolation and despair. And as we go along the line to Minford, we pause for a moment and have a look at the transfer sidings which connect the line with the Great Western Railway. Here we see more wagons lying about. And as we go along the line still further, we come to another station in which the track is invisible owing to it being buried in a layer of mud. But nevertheless, at Blaenau Festiniog, the other terminus of the line, we see where the line made a further connection with the Great Western Railway, and as people wander over the track, one would imagine that the Festiniog Railway might never have existed. And we just have a final glimpse around the station yard at Blaenau Festiniog before leaving the Festiniog Railway. Our journey then takes us down the west coast of Wales, across the Barmouth estuary, to Towyn, the terminus of the Talyllyn Railway. This railway is in a better state of preservation, and in 1951 it was decided to form the Talyllyn Railway Preservation Society, whose object it is to keep the railway going, and its members volunteer for different turns of duty of either driving the locomotives, issuing tickets, or carrying out track maintenance. Nobody is paid, and this little line is also noted by the very fact that its quaint little engine and coaches have inspired the celebrated cartoonist Emmett for his pictures in Punch. This is the locomotive Dog Gosh, and here we have its driver, obviously a volunteer for the day. And as the train is made up and the passengers wait to get into it, we go along the line to various spots to catch glimpses of this little train on its morning run of 7 miles. What could be prettier than this little cutting just outside Towyn? And then, just a little further along the line, Dalgosh Station, which in itself is a picture. And the locomotive comes out from the wooded scenery. And then at Aberglen-Olwen, the furthest terminus of the line, we say farewell to the Talyllyn Railway as we go further inland past the Talyllyn Lake to Corris. But here again we come against another scene of desolation. Old railway bridges washed away, and station buildings in an advanced state of decay. And this is all that remains of the Corris Railway, as much of it has been acquired by the Talyllyn Railway Preservation Society for replacements. And so we journey further westward, down to Aberystwyth, to the Vale of Rheidol Railway, which goes to Devil's Bridge. And as the morning train steams out of Aberystwyth station, we too make our way towards Devil's Bridge. The reason that this line is so prosperous is the very fact that no road could possibly take the course that the railway has taken. And this little 1 foot 11.5-inch gauge railway operates throughout the summer each year with about 2 trains per day. And at Devil's Bridge Station, which lies 680 feet above sea level, we take a glance at the station and a walk around before we go down amongst some of the scenery and view the Devil's Bridge. And here, amongst this scenery, I'm afraid I must leave you and the railways of Wales.